Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching. If you're watching, thank you for tuning in. As I said on my last video, I do a lot of different stuff, and figure at this point, why not put it on YouTube? Not everything I do is original. I usually just want to have something to do with my spare time and my hands just to keep myself busy. So if anyone watched my fishing video, which I haven't taken my camera along. I've caught some nice fish recently, but I just didn't take the camera along. In that video, because I got bored and wasn't catching anything but tiny stuff, what little made it onto the video, I got bored and tested out a wooden bobber I had made, which are about this size, which, yeah, that's the tape measure I need. So they're about 1.5 inches square by about 5 inches long, which were trimmed down to about 4 to 4.5 inch blocks, which were still sizable of themselves. I'd put weight in what I wanted to be the bottom so that the block would sit more upright, and then as it gets a bite would upright and then pull. Just wanted to try to make a smaller one today. So yeah, I'm bored. Let's make something. So this is a piece, everything's falling, of 4x4 scrap. I'd actually found this down beside my local river one day, scoping out for fishing spots. So I wanted to do a bunch of river fishing this year, but Hurricane Beryl, or the remnants thereof, decided nobody should be fishing that river this year. So we have roughly 1 inch by just under 2 by, yeah, it's 5 inches, 5.5 inches long. I just want to make a thinner, long weighted bobber today. So I'm probably going to see if I can split this piece in half, and then we'll get on to shaping and adding weight and all of that. Yeah. So, could just use the axe, but I don't want to saw it. Probably be my best option. So indecisive at times. Oh man. Now look, I'm gonna split this. It's actually got fairly straight grain, so it should split okay. Cling, clang, clatter. So, nice straight grain on this. My lighting's terrible. I know there's an outlet there, but there's no power to the shed, so little battery operated light. So here's 2 potential blanks from scrap wood. It's pine, so it's easy to work with, and it's all fairly straight, fairly square to start. I do want it more rounded by the end of things. So I'm going to drill for some weight and get back to you. Alright. Try to get this dead center, or as close to it as I can. Should be enough to put in enough weight to get it somewhere close to upright. Using my bit to bore that out a little larger in diameter. Alright, so I have adjusted the hole. Good grief. I've adjusted the hole in the bottom of my weighted bobber to accept the 3/4 ounce weight that I want to place in the bottom of it, and I'm going to put my line tie through that hole, which sometimes I have to drill that out a little bit, but that might seem like a lot for this little piece of wood, but to get it to sit at an angle so that it flips up when you get a bite and then down when it's a full take is a delicate balancing process, as any maker like this will tell you. So, on to carving it, shaping it. Which, I could just sand it. I prefer wood chisels, just because, I don't know, it's satisfying. I feel that it's satisfying. Making sure the camera's still in good angle. I've also got to be very careful not to go down too deep, because I wasn't quite on center, go figure. It's okay, it'll be alright. It's very humid today. Overcast. I'd rather be fishing, but it's supposed to be raining or thunderstorming soon. Local town's already got doused in another 8 or more inches of water. They were just trying to clean up from previous damage. The worst part is, it's the areas where I grew up and learned how to fish. With any luck, those ecosystems will be able to make a comeback in the next few years, but they're going to need a break from all this weather for that to happen. So all I'm doing is just rounding off my square edges to make it more cylindrical, more aerodynamic, hydrodynamic, and just so it doesn't look so much like a block of wood. Still fairly square, but it's alright. I don't want to take all the material at once, because I don't want to damage the integrity of the wood, which I'm going to have to seal to keep the water out of it and keep it buoyant. Excuse me. I'm probably not going to go till it's perfectly square. So I don't mind a little squareness to it. It's a muggy one today. I don't know if I've already said it, but I'm working with pine. I'm pretty sure I said that. Which is rather soft, generally easy to carve, especially if it's got a straight grain to it, where all the grains run in the same direction at about the same distance. Makes it very convenient, easy to work with, and I've got, like, if anybody saw the video before, I've got problems with my hands, my arms, my legs, my back. But so long as I can keep somewhat of a general continuum of motion, it lessens my symptoms. So I can't be completely still, but I can't be running full pace, which is what pace I used to enjoy running at. Not literally running, but living day-to-day life. I was always busy, always had something to do. And carving is something I always wanted to learn how to do. Wanted to know how. Never really had anybody to show me. Simple stuff. As long as you have a base to start with anything in life, you can get where you're going. Not even close to perfectly round, but that's alright. I just wanted it rounded, the generalized. And from there, I think I will saw this top off one just to square it a little bit. And that way I have a flatter surface to put my line tie into. Just a simple wooden bobber. The other cool thing about woodworking, even if you're an absolute noob like myself, any of those shavings or little bits, sawdust, if you grow stuff, works awesome in your soil. Now that I've got my shavings cleaned up, got my general profile, I do want to sand it down because I don't want all this rough. Because I do want to seal it, I do want to put paint on it. So, just want to get that stuff off of there. Starting off with 80 grit, and I'll do a finish with some 220. There are still some deeper grooves, but I'm not going to bother sanding those out. I'm not looking for perfection. I am looking for functionality. So, just see if I can get some more of that worked off so it's more smooth. Because I'm at least going to put a sealing coat on it. Alright, I'll get back to you when I'm done fiddling with the sandpaper. Not sure if you can hear it. The rain outside the window. Love that sound. So I've finished with the sandpaper. Got it about as smooth as I really care to have it. I like the character of the wood that I work with in any carpentry project that I have. So I tend to prefer the plain grain. But I'm going to at least have color on the top so it's more visible. But that's not a right now step. Right now I'm more worried about seating my weight and my tie eye. Pardon me. So, maybe I'll zoom in here. Use my pliers as my reference. Hey, there's my tie eyes. Sorry about the jerky ride. Still trying to get back into photography. Alright. So, the whole idea is you take this weight and it just seats down in there. I guess that's a bit deep. Go figure. Right. There we go. Have to fill that in a little bit. Take some of my chips because that seemed yay much too deep. Mistakes can be fixed. It's kind of handy for me that weight is about the same length as my first segment on my finger. So I'll get it going that way. And where's my mallet? About flush. Now it is flush. And now that's just going to get set in there with some super glue and baking soda. Some little liner. Alright. Had to go back inside and get my super glue, of course. So these little flip top bottles from Walmart work pretty good for baking soda. You can generally pick what you need, where you need it. I don't need a lot right now because I gotta set my weight in there. That baking soda in there. And then from there, we apply whatever super glue. Gel doesn't work great for this, as I've discovered, but any liquid super glue works really good. And you want to be back far enough that you don't get any of these vapors in your eyes, your nose. It's awful, it's acrid. Get a liberal amount on there. And while that's reacting, just tap on a little more. Just in and around. If I want, I can give it a little squeeze here. Get a little more to come out. I say that and it doesn't want to work. Must have a clump. Yep, there we go. It's a lot of baking soda, but that's okay, because most of that isn't staying on there. Alright, so there's that. And now I'm just going to fill in any of these little gaps that I still have. Make sure I get up there by the line tie. Because my line tie sits, the eye sits higher than, the two wires that I bent. What I did was I just took the clasp end off of a safety pin and then put something through to keep the eye. Get this out of my vise, a little screwdriver. And that kept my eye while I twisted the wire. It's pretty neat. Works pretty slick. Like I said, I'm just looking to amuse myself, and if you're amused, then I'm glad that you're amused with me. Alright, we now have our weight and bottom hook eye put in. Alright, just drilled for the top hook eye. Did a dry fit. Fits nice and snug. So at this point, take some of that super glue, get right into that orifice. Because I do want to make sure the hook eyes are at least facing the same sides. Get those where I want them, and then send that on in home. And then tapperoni, some baking soda, and we'll apply just a little more super glue. I'm not even sure if I was holding that in frame. Hopefully I was. Alright, so a bit more super glue, got a little run over. I don't really care. Not OCD about that, so I'm going to want this sealed anyway. Looks like somebody's been doing cocaine on my workbench. How dare they? They should leave that stuff in the fields where it grows. Alright. So, my hook eyes are in. My weights are in. And I'm not sure if I can even get this thing to balance. So as you can see, most of my weight is here in the bottom. And when I put this in the water, it should sit about like that. And then bite will pop it up. And if it's a full take, it should take it right under. So not any different than any other long weight. I mean, I suppose this is a little particular because most weights, or most floats rather, not weights, most floats are designed to float like this. I want mine to sit more like this, so it rides with the surface tension of the water instead of being carried as fast. I want this to be a slow moving bobber. Alright, so now I've got to seal this wood, and then we'll see if it floats or sinks, or if it sits about how I want it. Alright. Just did a spray can clear coat. And once that dries, we'll be able to see if it does what I'd like it to do. If you've bared with me this long, then thank you, I applaud you. So, wait for that to dry, and I'll get back to you. Alright, no longer see any wet gloss. So, I believe my clear coat is set. Alright, so I have too many fishing poles, said no guy ever. We just need a really simple one for this. So I'm going to grab this little Dock Demon Deluxe. I just don't want to get my fingers wet other than having to touch the bobber. OCDs are weird. But yeah, I'm going to use that guy. Put you in my stand. Adjust for my camera. Is not sure if you saw from the type of stand attached to the, well, the base attached to the stand. It's for a cell phone. So I'm shooting this all on my my Samsung Galaxy Android. Not to pick a side on that debate, but yeah, I like my Android. So let me get that weighted bobber on and let's see if it floats. Alright, here we go. Alright. So it's sitting pretty well how I want it, at an angle. And then when I get a take, it should lift. Or rather a bite, it should lift. And then should go under with a good take. And that's what I'm looking for. And that should do what I want it to do. Now at this point, all I gotta do is put whatever paint I want for the top, because I like the grain of that wood. And I mean, that's the cool thing about making stuff. You can make it how you want it. How you like it to look. Me, I'm a rather simple guy. So, if you watched this far, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you make something. And whenever you get the chance, go fishing.